Hello there, welcome to Heart Explained Therapy, and we're going to take a look at how to deal with pain. Now, it's not something that can be sort of spoke about easily because you're the one that's experiencing it, and you deal with stuff in a personal sort of way that won't be a one rule fits all for everybody. So I'm going to tell you my experience, what I had to do, and you've got to understand as well parts of the logic and rationale of parts of this came after I just reacted. So I didn't know how to deal with pain until I had really bad pain and went through it in different ways. So I'll tell you those alternative sort of experiences as well. But my pain was a separation from my son. Didn't speak to him for 4 months because of sort of a typical thing that happens when a marriage breaks down. The emotions get high, and this was projected in the pain of me not seeing Preston. Now, it's a shame because from my side of things, I acted really nice. I was fine and just wanted contact. Of course, the partner involved in this had a lot of pain. I could only believe that she acted out of pain and projected into me not seeing my son and my son not seeing me. And so this was what created my pain, and eventually the point where I am now, sort of talking and trying to help people with mental health, has all because of what happened to me after this event. Now, it means that I'm going to have to tell you some very dark and disturbing experiences, my sort of story, but also it ended up being the greatest thing in a sense to happen, although it didn't feel like it at the time. But it opened my eyes to a whole new reality that I just didn't know existed before. And unfortunately I live to tell the tale, but some people don't take this path or aren't lucky enough. I mean, I say I took a path, but I reacted and responded in the only way that I knew how, and it ended up taking me here. So at the first time when this happened, I went into sort of, I suppose what most people do, if you've ever split up in a relationship with somebody, if you've ever been cheated on, if you've ever had any sort of bad, really bad abusive sort of pain, traumatic experiences, even a loss of a loved one, or someone you just can't get over, the first thing is to look internal. And with this look internal, I don't mean look in the way that you would consciously want to look at yourself and understand the problem. I think you do a couple of things. You have guilt that it's your fault and you are the causer of the consequences. So it's not just bad enough that it happened to you, that you had this experience, but you did something, or you could have did something different to avoid this experience. Now this creates lots of guilt, so this is one of the things that are bad, but you need to be aware that, and be aware of this for the future. This internal looking at yourself that makes you feel extra guilt about the situation and blaming yourself. Can I do anything different? Maybe if I act this way with my partner, maybe if I act this way in the messages, if I would change certain things and show her that it's there's a different reality, will this madness stop? Will this pain stop? And you put a lot of stuff on yourself. And the second thing that you also do is suppress a lot of stuff. You don't tend to feel the pain. What you do is you suppress it, so you don't really feel it at all, but you feel a sort of part of it. Now this part of it is still very painful, but the part of it you suppress is even more painful and even more shocking to your psyche and your conscious. So I think that the first loop of guilt and certain ego defences, when another thing that you can do is externally blame everybody else. They caused the problem, and never have this neutral position. It's all this other person. And you see how you're taking bits of the pain away and never really feeling the whole sort of experience on the whole. You're breaking it up into little segments and dealing with it in different ways, suppressing, externalising, pouring a dialogue, and basically you've had a experience in life, and you've now turned it into something quite similar to the Big Bang, and a huge explosion that makes no sense whatsoever, and everything's going off into different directions, internally, externally. And this is where the behaviours and the mental health come into it. You are now stressed, depressed, probably doing bad habits to make yourself feel better. You probably haven't got the esteem to do anything positive in these moments, so your health will deteriorate, your physical body will deteriorate, and you probably have segments of people telling you stuff that you just can't physically do, and they might be the best advice in the world, but you're stuck in this haze. So what happened to me to start understanding this? Well, unfortunately, it involves feeling the pain for the sort of a truer way to experience it. Now, I don't know if this is going to make any sense, if somebody understands what they need to do, but let's just take something that from your experience. Think about if you felt the pain. Now, if you can think about everything that's happened in your life quite easily, if you can talk about it without too much emotion, without it stirring up a feeling of anger, rage, or all the dark elements of personalities that we sort of think are bad, then if you can't talk about a traumatic experience from your past, whether it happened yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, years ago, then you're still holding on to that as a form of energy. Similar to dark matter in the universe, it's there, but we don't know what it is, we don't want to go there, we not necessarily don't want to go there, but we don't know what's there to go there. So if you can't speak about it highlights that you've still got a problem with this, and this is the thing that you should look at and use this as a tool to look at as we carry on the video. Feeling the pain in every sense is by talking about it, bringing it up inside you. Now, if this is really bad and puts you in a really bad way, where at the moment you will probably think about it, or think about it and then drink. That blocks it out for a bit. A couple of days later, if you think about it again, you'll drink, or the drink might bring it out, and then you'll be emotional, and you might probably have some sort of things that feed the thoughts accidentally, or feed the feelings accidentally. And it's about just being conscious. It's about just letting this rise up inside you, and not take the negative feeling of the energy of the painful event, but look at it from a more logical, rational view. And the way that I give this as an example is, have you ever helped a friend in a difficult situation? Has a friend ever come to you and said, oh my God, this has happened, they've left me, I don't know what to do, I don't know, this sort of situation that you're not connected to, but you can view and analyse, and if you have been reminded of this from a personal experience, you'll project your opinion based on that. It's all that we can really do, isn't it? But you see how that one sort of step away, when it's family and friends, it makes it so much easier to give advice, and to give good advice sometimes. But you can't do that with yourself, and that's because the feeling comes up. So your initial, I'm not thinking about that, that's actually quite bad. Think about it. Think and feel, and let it basically come out of yourself, come out. And there's lots of ways that you can do this. Now, if you speak with friends and family, speak in a way where, pick someone who's going to listen basically. You want a good listener. You don't want an opinionated sort of person who's going to tell you biased information based on you, as in you're the hero, everybody else is the monster. That's not a good person to let stuff out, because there's a danger that you'll suppress pain in that moment. There's a danger that you won't accept some responsibility for you to grow in future relationships or future traumatic events that are definitely going to happen. It's bound to happen. You could experience the same thing 3 or 4 times in life. Grief and loss is certainly one of them. Painful relationships is certainly one of them. And so make sure you pick a good listener, and even tell them that you want them to be neutral. If you want them to listen neutrally, not as a best friend, but as a best friend to whoever the other party is involved. I think the speaking about it and getting it off your chest makes light of that dark energy, and you're first confronting this pain. Now, unfortunately with me, even though I spoke about it quite a lot because I'm a chatterbox, I think this kind of helped me unconsciously. But there was a moment where I went into a dark place. I went into the dark matter and was not expected, wasn't expecting what I found there. I went into the dark place and had a very strange sort of pick-me-up moment from the place of pure madness and insanity. I was 1 foot away from being in the straitjacket, and the next foot away from planning my whole life on how I was going to help people get over mental health, and I was going to prove that this place didn't exist. It was just all really a thought that you can think, any time. It is difficult, and I think it's difficult because these feelings are so powerful. Your emotions are so powerful. You think about that traumatic event now, and it takes a long time. It takes months, it takes years, and if I'm being perfectly honest, does it not hurt now? Of course it does. Can I think about it and bring up that anger and rage? Yes, of course I can. Does that serve me in the long term, or does it make me suffer? It makes me suffer. So why would I choose suffering? And you've got to ask that with your thoughts and feelings. Why would you choose something that doesn't serve you in a positive way, that has your back like a best friend, like a father or mother? And if you can do this and observe this, which is a trick, like a mind hack, and if you can do this long enough, you will see that there is a reality that exists through this pain. It's a place where you can now view pain as almost like a really good experience to understand and to grow, and for you to be a better person, a better father. I will be a greater father to my son based on that period of no contact that I still have problems with today. It's not, if anything, it's got far worse for me. But my understanding of psychology, mental health, thoughts and feelings, these mindfulness sort of things, just makes me keep my mind in sanity and less suffering, and making an equation that works out for me, that doesn't stop me in my tracks, that doesn't halt my life and makes me drink or smoke or take drugs or anything too negative. The mind can produce all that if I go into the anger, if I go into the pain, if I go into the rage unconsciously, not understanding the point of it, making all that experience a worthwhile event for the future, for my future children. My own son can benefit from my experience now. And I know it sounds like a very it sounds crazy in a way to view pain in such a positive way and understand pain in this sense, but it's a good trick that can help people get over traumatic experiences. I feel that the whole world is a sort of bunch of addicts at the moment, all been traumatised. We've all been traumatised unconsciously or unconsciously. We don't delve into the pain and we're just addicted to crap stuff to distract us from this insanity. And I don't think it's the normal, natural way that our mind needs to contemplate feelings and emotions and everything that comes with it. I think there's a good place that exists if you go through it, if you know, it's scary, it's painful, it's dark, but you kind of have to have that to see the light again and to be positive and to give back. It's a strange thing that came out of it. My moment, which was hallucinations and pure madness and the craziest feelings and thoughts ever, turned into my plan to become a wellbeing coach, to learn about psychology and counselling. I'm second year of a degree now, to give something back from my experience, because in my wildest imagination I came out of the other side and I'm not a crazy nut job, although these videos probably show something completely different to a unconscious or conscious being. But feel the pain and think about the trauma, and if you can't feel the pain or you can't say it out loud, or you have anger about an ex or a past sort of person, or you've got guilt about someone who passes away, explore this and explore it with friends and family, these neutral, unbiased people that are just going to sit there and listen and say it's going to be okay, you'll mend. And I hate this saying that time is a good healer. If you do nothing in that time and you just basically forget about it and suppress it, then time doesn't heal at all. Time has just meant that you've not thought about it for a long amount of time. Time is only really a good healer if you consciously work through it. Work through the feelings, work through the emotions, work through all the things that it's causing in your life now. And you can eradicate them. It's quite simple. You can reverse the process and understand that you was unconscious, the other person was unconscious. This painful experience can be seen as something that just occurs in life. We're emotional, unconscious human beings. This suffering is always going to occur if you don't get conscious.